Dear members, and especially our visitors and guests, please note the following important announcements. By attending the remote Zoom meeting, which is also live streamed on YouTube, you agree to the public policy of Toastmasters International, as well as the unassociated remote hosting service. Some of your personal information, such as name, image, and any shared messages, will be recorded. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International and Leadership Speak and or any of its members from all claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, and liabilities arising out of or in connection with the use of or distribution of said video recordings, including but not limited to any claims for invasion of privacy, appropriation of likeness, or defamation. Zoom Master, please start the recording. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmaster club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. Excuse me. I am your Sergeant of Arms of the meeting. And my name is Nicole Whyte. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is the premier club of experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer, Marie Cusin, has her virtual hand raised, so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our Toastmaster of the day, who will be leading us through today's meeting, is Toastmaster Paramjit Singh. Paramjit is a design and development manager, a certified NLP trainer, and a growth mindset coach, someone deeply committed to both personal and professional development. Since joining Toastmasters in 2020, he has completed 5 pathways and is currently working on his 6th and 7th to complete them by June of this year. He has served as an area director in District 127 in the UAE and is a past division champion in both the International Speech Contest and the Humorous Speech Contest. Please join me in welcoming our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Paramjit Singh.
Hello everyone. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Nicole, for your overwhelming introduction. And today, welcome everyone, and particularly our guests. If you see something over there, in India we call it Atithi Devo Bhava, which means a guest is divine. So all our guests here are divine. And Leadership Speak grows through listening to people, and we would like to know what you observed in our meetings. And our President Holmes will have a conversation with you after the meeting. In the meantime, please take a moment to fill out the feedback form. PR Master Veronica, may I request you to kindly share the link in the chat? Fellow Toastmaster and dear guests, have you ever followed someone and halfway through the journey you realize that they don't have idea where they are moving? And worse than that is you are following a leader who knew the direction, but he does not care about you. So today we explore a theme which goes to the heart of the influence: leadership through vision and human connection. Leadership is not about the position, it is about the vision. It is not about the control, it is about connection. A leader without a vision is like a Google map without a destination. It will be recalculating. We keep moving, but we don't know where we are headed. And a leader without a connection is like a WhatsApp admin who is present, who is in charge, but doesn't reply. He's available, but emotionally unavailable. If a vision gives you the clarity, connection gives you the commitment. History is filled with very powerful leaders who had a powerful vision but lost their people. However, one of the most powerful examples of a vision driven leadership was Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan from United Arab Emirates, from Dubai. He has a bold vision to unite the Emirates and build a nation rooted with stability, innovation, and opportunity. In 1971, when United Arab Emirates was formed, it was not merely a political vision, it was a shared dream. But vision alone does not build a country. People followed him because he connected with them personally and humanly. He met citizens face to face. He listened to their concerns. He invested in education, healthcare, and welfare, not on policies, but as promises. That is the leadership, not follow me because I'm say, but walk with me because we believe together. And the following leaders of United Arab Emirates even today follow the same pattern. They have so much connected to the people. One of my personal example I would like to share with you. While coming out of one of the exhibition, Sheikh Rashid, the Prime Minister of United Arab Emirates, was ahead of me. And there were about no protocol, no police, nothing. He was moving. And when the time for going into the lift came, I just stopped because just to respect. He said, no, come, Paramjit, come. Singh, come. Oh, that is the connection. And if you can see him in the news, he's sometimes helping somebody at 5 o'clock in the morning in the desert. And the vision, you can see the building they have done, the infrastructure they have developed. They have the vision and they have the connection with people. I am born and brought up in India, but I feel I am more connected now even to United Arab Emirates because of the vision and the connection I can make with these leaders. We will be talking more about these leaders. However, let us move further to our different segments. And our first segment we like to have is one of the most delightful segment, that is about our toasts. See, leadership is not about only getting the success, it is also to celebrate it. And today, to celebrate the same, we have Toastmasters Sonja from France to raise the toast for the leaders. Over to you, Sonja.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Paramjit. In many organizations, execution is not the real challenge. People work hard and are dedicated, but so often they end up pulling in different directions. Goals are established, yet ownership stays shallow. Performance doesn't stall because of a lack of skill, but because of misalignment and mistrust. I experienced this firsthand when the division I worked in was acquired during a corporate split. Our team, the service team lead, the operations manager, and myself, the performance manager, we all had the experience and knowledge, and we understood the risks of the business. And yet, the new leadership never reached out to seek alignment. There was no shared conversation about direction, no discussion about what should be preserved or improved. Their decisions were implemented very quickly, but without engaging the people responsible for delivery. Besides alignment, something else was missing: human connection. The new leadership hired additional people, but we were never intentionally brought together. There was no shared space to understand each other's perspectives, strengths, or concerns. Therefore, the trust did not form naturally. And without that trust, our collaboration remained transactional rather than cohesive. This experience clearly taught me impactful leadership begins with setting a vision, a clear picture of where we are going and why it matters. But vision alone is not enough. Human connection is the fuel that keeps that vision alive. Connection builds psychological safety and fosters trust. It invites accountability and turns individual efforts into aligned momentum. When vision and human connection operate together, when they're equally strong, something powerful happens. Individual effort becomes aligned, and aligned effort becomes impact. Dear ladies and gentlemen, please unmute your microphones, turn on your cameras, and raise your glasses. Here is to leaders who lead through vision and human connection.
Vision and human connection.
Vision and connection.
Vision and human connection.
Here.
Back to you, Toastmaster Paramjit.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sonia. There are a few pillars who work behind the scene and some of them work in front of the screen. And the one of our main pillar journey is timer. How many of you are wearing Swiss watches? Anyone here? Now, Swiss watches are known for their accuracy. They are known for their long life, as well as their accuracy is within the seconds. Today, fittingly, our timer today also brings the same accuracy, all the way from Switzerland. Please welcome Toastmaster Mary Cusin, who will now explain the role of timer. Over to you, Toastmaster Mary.
Thank you very much, Paramjit, Toastmaster Paramjit. Good day, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Marie Cusin, your timer for today. I shall time you according to the times on the agenda. After each session, I shall post them to the chat box. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mary. Now, there's one thing I always very much afraid of, and that particular is the grammarian rule. Because in my college time, I wrote a love letter to one of my teachers, and she gave me back the paper back with all the red markings. And she said, worst grammar. Thank God, our grammarian today is not my teacher, but an aviation expert from Nigeria. Toastmaster Mamadou, please explain your role.
Hello, Mr. Toastmaster. Hello, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to place close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I will take notes of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. And for today's meeting, the word of the day is, as you can see here, connection, which means the state of being related, linked, united, or in a relationship with someone or something. An example of the use of the word of today is a leader's greatest strength lies not in the title or authority, but in their ability to forge genuine connection with those they lead. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian report when called upon during the meeting, and also a report on the usage of the word of the day. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mamadou. Now, again, Atithi Devo Bhava, the guest is divine. So please, I request all our guests to fill in the feedback form. Toastmaster Veronica, please, can you share the guest form? Thank you. Now, one of the most powerful segments in the leadership speak is about leadership educational speech. Week after week, leaders from different diverse walks of life, they share their experiences and about the leadership they have been using, the principle they're using for their own development, as well as helping everyone to learn from their development, their principles, values, and they shared with us. They are from among us only, the leaders, but who has really achieved something in their own areas of leadership. And today, in the spirit of leadership through vision and human connection, we have the privilege of hearing to someone who is leader, who exemplifies both, someone who goes path clearly and brings other along with the heart and purpose. So before I bring on her to the screen, I will ask to Fabian Joseph, her evaluator, to share the project objectives of Toastmaster of our education speaker, Fabian Joseph.
Thank you very much. The purpose of Pauline project is for her to practice developing a presentation, presenting a long speech. Pauline and I had connected, and she shared with me that she needs to work on her vocal variety. And today she is very excited to present this speech because it is actually her first time doing a speech in English that is so long. So I'm very excited for this speech by Holly. Back to you, Paramjit.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Fabian. So today, our educational speaker, Harleen, is a researcher and professor teaching mathematics and physics with a clear focus on strengthening her leadership abilities and enhancing the public speaking skills. She has been a Toastmaster for 1.5 years. And leadership speak for the six months. And she aims to complete one path this year. As well as beyond her professional work, she enjoys reading, traveling, and seeking out experience that helps her grow. Please help me welcome our educational speaker, Toastmaster Harleen. Harleen, leadership with vision and human connection. Leadership with vision and human connection. Harleen, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, for the warm introduction. Greetings, self-directed leaders, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. Have you ever worked extremely hard, yet felt that your work did not truly matter? Most of us have, and when that feeling appears, something changes. Energy declines. Creativity fades. Commitment weakens. It is not because people are incapable. Is it because they are disconnected? Ladies and gentlemen, research from Gallup, a global analytics and consulting company, confirms that people do not disengage primarily because of workload. They disengage when they do not see purpose in what they do, or feel unseen by those they work with. That insight changes everything we think we know about leadership. Leadership is not only about planning, directing, or measuring results. Leadership is about creating clarity of future and strength of relationship. Today, I will speak about leadership through vision and human connection. Before going deeper into this topic, I'd like to begin with a story that shaped my understanding of leadership. More than 10 years ago, I had a supervisor who assigned me many tasks. I always delivered everything he requested, but he never gave me feedback. Each time he asked for more, I worked harder, sometimes up to 15 hours a day in the laboratory, trying to complete experiments, many of which never led to results. I felt disconnected. I felt tired. I had believed in him as a supervisor. I worked very hard, but much of what I did was never reviewed, never acknowledged, and never aligned with a clear purpose. Understanding why people disengage leads us to the first responsibility of leadership. If we want commitment, we must first provide clarity. That clarity begins with vision. I would like all of you, effective leaders, to answer these two questions. Where are you going? Why does it matter? Without those answers, even the most talented team will drift. Vision is not a slogan. It is not a slide in a presentation. It is a clear picture of the future that people can understand and believe in. When leaders describe that future well, something powerful happens. People begin to see how their daily actions contribute to something larger than themselves. Let me give you a simple comparison. A manager says, finish this report by Friday. A leader says, this report will help us design solutions that improve how people learn and access knowledge. Same task, completely different level of motivation. Vision transforms activity into contribution. In universities, research teams that share a defined scientific goal collaborate more effectively because each experiment is seen as a part of a shared discovery, not an isolated requirement. In my own experience, I work as a researcher in advanced materials applied to technology. My background is in computational simulation, and I collaborate with colleagues who specialize in experimental work. Together, we investigate the same materials by combining simulation and experimental results. This integration saves time and allows us to advance faster in our research. We discuss our findings, learn from one another's expertise, and build knowledge collectively rather than individually. The same principle applies in business. Departments that understand the organizational direction stop competing internally and start coordinating externally. Vision allies effort. It reduces confusion and replaces motion with progress. But vision alone is not enough. People may understand the destination, yet still hesitate to move. What turns understanding into commitment is connection. If vision answers where we are going, connection answers why it's better to go together, Leadership is fundamentally relational. Connection happens when leaders listen intentionally, show respect consistently, and recognize contribution authentically. When people feel valued, they engage, not because they must, but because they want it. I have experienced this in Leadership Speak, a premier club for experienced Toastmasters who thrive to become more self-directed leaders. We come from more than 30 countries, yet we are connected by a shared purpose to support one another, to learn from one another, and to grow together. The connection helps each of us advance further than we could alone. Connection, when practiced consistently, builds something every high-performing team depends on: trust. When leaders invest time in understanding their teams, not just evaluating them, engagement rises dramatically. Consider environments where leaders hold regular conversations not to monitor progress, but to understand challenges and aspirations. For example, a leader who asks, "What is blocking your progress, and how can I support you?" create dialogue instead of pressure. Those environments consistently show higher morale, faster learning, and greater resilience. Connection creates trust, and trust is the foundation of innovation. So, if vision gives a direction and connection builds trust, the real question becomes, what happens when we bring the two together? When vision and connection operate together, leadership becomes sustainable. When vision without connection creates pressure, connection without vision creates comfort. Vision with connection creates progress. In research environments, this becomes very visible when students are invited to help design experiments instead of simply executing instructions. Their mindset changes. They begin asking deeper questions. Why does this material behave this way? Or what if we modify this parameter? They take ownership of the process, propose ideas, and anticipate challenges. As a result, experiments are not just completed, they are improved. Innovation increases because curiosity replaces routine, and learning becomes active rather than mechanical. In organization, the same dynamic occurs. When employees participate in defining goals instead of only receiving them, they understand the reasoning behind decisions. For example, a team that helps shape a project's timeline will coordinate more responsibility, adjust faster to obstacles, to support one another to meet shared objectives. The goal is no longer management targets. It becomes our commitment. Engagement deepens because people feel trusted, and that trust generates accountability. Shared ownership transforms followers into collaborators, and collaboration is what sustains progress over time. This is where leadership moves beyond theory. It becomes culture. It becomes practice. It becomes impact. So, how do we apply this leadership model? It does not require a new title. It requires new habits. First, clarify the future. Be explicit about what success looks like and why it matters. This week, define one clear goal for your team and explain not only what you want to achieve, but why it truly matters. Second, make sure everyone understands the vision. People must hear the vision more than once. And more importantly, they need to see it in action. Repeat your vision consistently and demonstrate it through one concrete action that aligns with it. Third, invest in relationships intentionally. Listen before directing. Ask before assuming. In your next meeting, spend 3-5 minutes listening without interrupting before offering your opinion. Fourth, invite participation. Ownership creates commitment. Before finalizing a decision, ask, what do you think? And genuinely consider the answer. Finally, lead by example. Make sure your actions match the vision and you have a chart. Choose one behavior today and reflect the future you are asking others to build. Leadership is observed more than it is heard. So, don't just describe the vision. Embody it. Let me return to where we began. People disengage when they feel disconnected from purpose and from people. But the opposite is also true. When leaders provide a clear vision and foster genuine connection, people do more than complete assignments. They believe in the mission. They support one another. They grow beyond expectations. Leadership is not about standing in front. It is about creating a future for others want to have built. It is about seeing clearly, connecting deeply, and moving forward together. Thus is leadership through vision and human connection. So the real question is, what kind of future are you creating? And who wants to build it with you? Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Helen, for an engaging and enriching speech and enriching us with the information, the principles, how a leader with the vision and human connection can really excel and engage people and can really influence the people with him. And I really like the leadership is observed more than it is heard. I hope all of us present here will take benefit of the nuggets you have shared with us. Thank you very much. Now we move on to our prepared speeches, and our first speaker for today is Lydiah Wanjiku. Before her speech, let us connect to the purpose of her to deliver this speech. May I ask her evaluator, Toastmaster Nicole, to share with us the project objectives. Over to you, Toastmaster Nicole.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, Lydiah will be delivering her speech, which is in line with her pathway, engaging humor level 3, and her project is on level 2. During my connection with her, she requested that I pay attention to her ability to engage in a humorous way, clarity, and the use of gestures. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmasters.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Nicole. Lydiah Wanjiku, our Toastmaster from Kenya. She is a human resource professional, director of a HR consulting company, and VP education for a club in Kenya, as well as a mentor for District 114. She has completed 2 paths, working on the 3rd path. Lydiah Wanjiku, please help me welcome our Toastmaster, Lydiah Wanjiku. Lydiah Wanjiku, Inspire Inclusion. Inspire Inclusion, Toastmaster Lydiah. The virtual stage is yours.
Thank you. Toastmaster of the day. Have you ever shared your brilliant idea, then someone else gets a credit for that? Can I see by show of hands? Emoji. I'm not alone. That one happened to me in a meeting. I was in the meeting and the only woman in that meeting. I had prepared. And when I gave my idea, the room was quiet. Across the table, a gentleman repeated the same idea. Guess what they said? That is genius, strategic. Let us pursue that idea. I was shocked. I asked myself, maybe I should have used a bass to sound like a man. That experience did not teach me about meetings. It taught me about inclusion and how to inspire inclusion. In that moment, I learned something very powerful about leadership and inclusion. As leaders, our responsibility is rooted in commitment. We commit to progress, to equity, and to ensuring that everyone is included. Never leave someone behind. When we look at history, there are very powerful examples. Let me give you one of a very young girl called Malala Yousafzai. She proved that leadership has nothing to do with the age, but only courage. For you to be a good leader, you need to have the courage. And today, I want to bring this closer to us, because leadership is not reserved for global icons. It is in this room. It is in leadership speak. This is where you get a mentor. This is where you hear someone saying, let us hear him, let us hear her. Or someone says, let the person finish, give the person the chance. That is true leadership, because leadership is inclusion in action. And the inclusion here means not just inviting someone on the table, but it means valuing what that person is saying. It means listening, not to respond, but to understand. It means recognizing that diversity is not a checkbox. It is a strength. It means we inspire inclusion. And research consistently has shown that inclusive teams, they perform better. They make brilliant decisions because they innovate and they are able to build one another. Beyond performance metrics, inclusion builds something deeper. What is that? A sense of belonging. You feel you belong. And the belonging, it fuels confidence. And confidence fuels courage. Finally, courage fuels leadership. We become strong leaders. Let me tell you what happened after that meeting. Because yes, it happened again. But this time, I was well prepared. What did I do? The person who repeated my idea, I told the person, thank you very much, Paramjit, because I see that idea resonated with you. And that particular time, I felt good. And that one changed the way I had felt in my first meeting. And this is all because inclusion is not something that you ask from others. It is something that you model. And today, I invite each one of us, regardless of gender, regardless of position, to reflect these 3 questions. Number 1, ask yourself, whose voice are you amplifying? Number 2, ask yourself, whose contribution am I recognizing? Number 3, how am I making space for others to lead? As you ask yourself, that is a personal question, you will answer yourself and ask yourself, how am I going to move forward when it comes to mentoring, when it comes to sponsoring? Because when you do that, you are inspiring inclusion. I personally value inclusion because people feel seen, they feel heard, and that one gives them courage to contribute and to become better leaders. What I've learned is to embrace and inspire inclusion because it is not supposed to be something you do it once. It's supposed to be a daily decision because you will advocate and elevate inclusion. So let us all inspire inclusion. And that way we will stay connected. Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Lydiah, for giving us the understanding of inclusion and how inclusion can help you engagement with your team. Thank you very much for your help. Now we'll like to listen to our second speaker. Our second speaker is Toastmaster Ghada Almojarkish. Before we witness her or listen to her, let us understand the foundation. And may I humbly request our evaluator, Toastmaster Nicole, to share with her the project objectives. Over to you, Toastmaster Nicole.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Paramjit. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. Our speaker, Ghada, is presenting from the Pathway Presentation Mastery, which is a level 2 speech, Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. The purpose of her project is to present a speech about a time when she was a protege, sharing the impact and importance of having a mentor. This is a 7-minute speech. We connected and she did let me know that she'd like me to focus on her speech structure and whether she has a clear takeaway for her audience. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Nicole. Toastmaster Ghada. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Ghada. She is a social service activist and mental health provider. And she is a coach. Toastmaster Ghada. Ask to awaken. Toastmaster Ghada. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Imagine you are in the middle of an argument and you are absolutely certain you are right. Do you want to prove that you are right? You may answer in the chat box. Yes, no. This is the first question. Now, the second one. What if proving you are right costs you the relationship? Would you answer the same? What matters more, validation or connection? being right or being wise. The quality of your present and the future depends on the quality of the questions you ask yourself in challenging moments. With time, you recognize the power of questions and how they amazingly ignite learning, transform thinking, and dramatically increase attention and retention. How? How could the question awaken the mind? The human mind is wired to respond to questions in active mood. So when people generate answers themselves, they remember information far better than when they simply receive it. Powerful questions interrupt automatic thinking. So many people operate from unconscious patterns, such as assumptions, emotional reactions, or repeated relational conflicts. But when you ask, for instance, what else could this mean? What is my responsibility here? What outcome I truly want? This is metacognition, thinking about thinking, which is the foundation of personal growth. And here's something we often overlook. Questions do not only develop the person asking them, they also deepen the bond between people. So when you ask someone a genuine, thoughtful question and truly wait for the answer, you are telling them without a word that they are matter. It's a world where most people are waiting for their turn to speak. The person who asks and listens becomes rare and therefore deeply trusted. Questions are not just tools of self-discovery. They are also acts of connection and love. In my work as a facilitator and a family consultant, I use this simple yet powerful strategy. Ask, listen with empathy, not to respond or correct, not to judge, just to understand. When people feel understood, they access their own wisdom. I don't give solutions. I ask questions that help them reach self-deduction. Because a solution discovered is stronger than solution delivered. A wife once asked me or told me that she felt lonely when her husband went with his friend without telling her. And I asked her, would it have been okay with you if he had gone, but told you first? Here she discovered that the real issue wasn't loneliness, but communication, consideration, and connection. One question might shift the plain and pain into clarity. Now, I don't want you to remember my words. I want you to remember to ask. The quality of your questions, the quality of your life will never arise above your courage to ask. Powerful questions are what Powerful questions are what awaken people, in life. They expand awareness, uncover hidden assumptions, and open new possibilities. They ignite inner responsibilities. Remember that Awaken begins the moment you ask your mind. And wait and listen deeply to let and allow the truth to surface. Especially when you feel stuck, unheard, overwhelmed, and then you will discover that answers may protect your position, but questions awaken your consciousness and help you achieve happiness and success you seek. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ghada. Powerful questions and how they can help you to achieve the inner consciousness and reach the inner consciousness. How can they help? I hope we all will learn from you in more deeper conversations about how we can ask powerful questions to us. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ghada. Our next speaker, our third speaker for today is Kanav Hurria. Let us listen for the foundation of the project for him from his evaluator, Toastmaster Holmes. Toastmaster Holmes, the stage is yours.
Thank you, TMOD. Kanav today is doing a level 1 project. My apologies. A level 1 project to write a speech with purpose, writing a speech with purpose. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and present a well-organized speech on any topic. Self-directed leaders. We all know that at Leadership Speak, we are an advanced club, and all members have minimally completed level 3. So here Kanav is revisiting one of the basic projects as he goes on. He's at least his second pathway, and he shares with us today that his purpose is to inspire the audience, self-directed leaders, us here, to actively pursue service to our communities. Back to TMOD.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Holmes. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Kanav. Toastmaster Kanav, an advocate from the capital city of India, a young member from Leadership Speak. Kanav Hurria, my plan, Kanav Hurria. The stage is yours.
Everyone say we plan to fail. We fail to plan something. But let me ask you something. Do you plan that I will fail at something? I planned it for so many things. First, at my home club, which had just 2 members, I planned I will have meeting in the open, and we did that. And that I was like, the club will die. Let me just have that activity. Let's do something there. But what happened? People come and joined, and the club is thriving with 20 plus members. Then again, I tried to do it with another, but I failed. I did a podcast. I failed because no one was trying to listen to it. So I failed. Then I failed. But no one remembers what I failed at. Everyone remembered what I passed at. The club I helped survive. And they still, whenever someone comes and say that, Kanav, you have done a really good job to protect that club, which is my other home club, Toastmaster Club of Speaking and Leadership. That helps. Now, I failed at that. And that was my plan, to fail. But somehow I succeed. Now, coming in out of my next 6 months, I'm planning to apply for division director. Even though I might become one or might not. But one thing is true, that I have to do certain things to achieve that, which is to have enough connections with the presidents, area directors to have my votes. That is the basic minimum requirement. So you have to plan for that. I also want to complete my distinguished Toastmaster. So a person has to plan for that. You have to plan for that. Coming at a larger scale, we all have to plan for something. Are we planning? Are we doing something? I failed at my clubs. I was an area director last year. I have failed 2 clubs. 2 of my clubs died. But I kept on pushing on it. So the basic question to you guys is, are you going to do something except not thinking about failing but doing it? And we are in such a beautiful community in which failure does not matter. We all get applause after our speech. We all get applause. The only thing matters is the attempt. So, are you going to attempt? Are you going to fail? Back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kanwab. Are you going to attempt or you're going to fail? Certainly, we are going to attempt. That's what we all do. And we'd certainly like to listen to your advice and work on this 100%. Now, our fourth speaker is Toastmaster Mary Cusin. Every leadership speech is a step towards leadership. And to know the next step and what a step gives us, let us listen to the next step and the project objectives from her evaluator, Toastmaster Sonia. Over to you, Toastmaster Sonia.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Paramjit. Marie started another pathway called Motivational Strategies, and she's presenting the first speech, the icebreaker, Level 1, Project 1. The purpose of this project is for Marie to introduce herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. She asked me to focus my evaluation on her impact, which was the strongest moment and why. Were there moments that she spoke too fast or too slow? And were there moments where pause would have been more powerful? Did the humor land naturally, or did it feel forced at any point? I will consider all the points that she mentioned. All the best. Marie, back to you. Toastmaster of the Day, Paramjit.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster. Toastmaster Sonja, Marie Cusin, Franco-Swiss national of Indo-Bangladeshi origin, adopted through trafficking. And she believes the most important part of any decision is the intention behind it. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Mehdi with a speech. Stakeholder, not consulted. Stakeholder, not consulted. Toastmaster Mehdi. The virtual stage is all yours.
Raise your hand if you ever left a meeting thinking, why wasn't it in that room? Keep your hand up if the decision made in that room changed the course of your life. The decision changed mine. And I only found out 3 years ago. Today, I am going to tell you a true story, my story, a story that crosses 3 continents, 50 years of silence, and a truth that nobody wanted to name. First, I will take you into the room where everything was decided without me. Then, I shall you what that silence built. And finally, the 3 lessons this journey taught me about leadership, trust, and what it really means to make a decision. The room where I wasn't. 1972. The Indo-Pakistani war has just ended. Bangladesh is born in chaos, a brand new nation still bleeding. Millions of displaced people, orphanages overwhelmed. And somewhere in that administrative disorder, someone saw an opportunity. Picture the room, small, poorly lit, no coffee. On one side, middleman, professional facilitator, whose supply chain consisted of children quietly stolen through orphanages, willing to look the other way. No paperwork asking uncomfortable questions. On the other side, overloaded government offices, whose verification policy came down to 4 words. Good enough, let's move on. And at the end of the table, an European family, good and hopeful people, who had submitted one simple, very specific request. This family wanted to adopt a boy, clean and straightforward, except an unexpected logical complication. My brother and I came as a bundle. The middleman declared that separating siblings was simply out of the question. So the family that had ordered a boy received an unsolicited offer, a brother and a sister. What corporate language calls an upsell. What human language calls me. Notable absentees from that meeting: my birth mother, whose children were stolen from her, my brother, and me. The 3 most affected parties, not consulted. And that silence builds the following situation. The arrival in Europe was creatively structured. No identity papers, no certificate date of birth, just an estimate date like a parcel whose postmark is too smudged to read. That background field in my file looked less like a document and more like a IQ, evocative, minimal, open to interpretation. For decades, I carried a story written for me, not with me. Built on silence, on gaps, on the comfortable assumption that she will never find out, which is quite, of course, a perfectly acceptable long-term communication strategy. 3 years ago, though, I found out that what I had been told was an adoption was in reality international child trafficking. And in the silence that follows that kind of truth, something becomes completely clear. This is not a problem of intentions. Most of people around that table believed they were doing something useful, something that could be stamped, filled, and forgotten. It's a problem of alignment, a catastrophic gap between what is said, what is done, and what is deliberately left unsaid. Between the state invasion, give a child a better life, and the reality that was built, a system where the most vulnerable have no voice, no visibility, and no seat at the table. When truth has no place in the room, someone carries it alone, and in my case, for 50 years. My name is Marie Cusin, but somewhere between India and Bangladesh, on a date that nobody really knows, stolen with my brother, delivered to Europe as an unsolicited bundle deal. It took me 50 years to read the minutes of the meeting that decide my life. I was the primary stakeholder. I was not consulted, but here I am, standing in this room, at this table. And from that journey, from that silence of 50 years, I want to leave you with 3 things you can carry into every room you enter after today. First, visions without truth is just decoration. If the people most affected have no voice in shaping it, it will crack, and someone will pay the price. Second, connection without honesty is just performance. If our truth never makes it through the door, the truth you think you're building is sitting on a fault line. Third, and this is the head of everything, the real role of a leader is not to have all the answers. It's to make the room safe enough for truth to walk in. The most dangerous words in any organization are not, I disagree. They are, I assume you knew. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mary, for your touching speech, I will say, as well as the way you have said that stakeholders must be included. Thank you very much for that. Now we move on to our next session. Before we move on, may I request the timer, Toastmaster Mary Cusin, timer as well as speaker, double role player, to please share the timer's report in the chat. And Zoom Master to launch the poll for the best effort speaker. As we move further to over the next session, I again say this, our guests to please share over your feedback in the feedback form and the guest form, and please continue listening to our evaluation section Later, our president, Toastmaster Holmes, will have a conversation with all of you. Thank you for your time and support. Now, I'd like to invite our next session in charge, General Evaluator, Toastmaster Terrence Whyte. Please help me welcome Terrence, who is a business analyst and from the technology industry given by the profession, full-time parent, and he joined Toastmaster 5 years ago and have consistently grown in leadership and critical thinking in evaluations. Over to you, our General Evaluator, Toastmaster Terrence Whyte.
Thank you for that brilliant introduction, Toastmaster Paramjit Singh. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I will be your General Evaluator this evening, morning, or whatever time you're joining us from. My role will be twofold, where I will be calling a team of seasoned Toastmasters, as you have seen, to evaluate our speakers. And second, I'll also be calling on the role players for their reports. The third thing that I will do to wind up this session will be sharing my overall report or overall assessment of the meeting. And we get straight into it. We'll start with the evaluation of the toast delivered by Sonja, and this evaluation will be delivered by none other than Toastmaster Hannah. Toastmaster Hannah, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. Toastmasters and Sonja. Raising a toast is the key aspect of leadership speak, and we are committed to executing this role with excellence because it serves as the initial speech that links leadership speak with the audience. Sonja, you did that well, full of enthusiasm and engagement. You began with a question about conflicting directions. You shared your story related to the theme. You captivated the audience with your enthusiasm, vocal variety, and gestures. Congratulations again on that one. You highlighted that effective leadership starts with a clear vision and human connection, which work together, especially in leadership speak. And you explained that extremely well. Sonja, you concluded the toast with a style requesting that the audience to raise their glasses, open their videos, and to toast with you. Now comes the anticlimax. You asked us to raise our glasses for the toast, and you raised a cup. Sonja, here's the leadership speak through the vision and human connection. Toast. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Hannah, for that evaluation. One thing that can make your evaluation stand out and move to the next level is one I've observed, for instance, what I've just changed on my screen, my background. It's fantastic that we have all those flags to represent what Leadership Speak has done or has achieved, 32 countries, I believe. But it is more effective when your background is plain when you're presenting. Beyond that, that was effective, and I believe Sonja has gotten the message. Thank you for that. We quickly segue to the second evaluator. This is none other than Nelly Jen, evaluating the Toastmaster of the day. Nelly Jen.
Okay.
Over
Thank you
to
so
you.
much. Thank you so much, General Evaluator. When vision meets connection, magic happens. And today, Paramjit didn't just run a meeting. He orchestrated an experience for everyone. The leader creates clarity and genuine connection. Everyone naturally moves in the same direction. And Paramjit Singh, our Toastmaster of the day, you set the tone before the start of the meeting. Well, 2 weeks ago, no, more than 2 weeks ago, the WhatsApp group was already created, and that is not just compliance with the club requirements, but that is also foresight. You anchored the vision early. Yes, roles shifted, speakers changed, evaluators move around, and yet the meeting flowed smoothly. You keep the vision steady, and you keep the energy positive. You were also one of the first person in the room, and that small detail communicates something powerful. That is readiness. Now, during the meeting, when you welcomed us, especially our guest, you welcomed us warmly and even had that background which kinda got my attention, and you told us its beautiful meaning. A guest is divine. And in that moment, you instantly created connection. That wasn't just an introduction. It was really building connection with every one of us. I also noticed how each segment had a thoughtful background, from role takers to speakers. Your introduction felt personal, and you truly knew each person. That builds psychological safety. That also builds confidence. You also guided our guests to fill out guest books and assured them that someone will connect with them later. And your transitions, smooth, effortless. Plus, you made us laugh and smile along the way. From one speaker to the next, from one role taker to another, you keep the rhythm flowing, and then throughout the meeting, we can see that leadership doesn't always have to be serious to be powerful. You proved that. So, what could be improved? Even though the group was created early, some members were added only this week. And for TMODs, to achieve an even stronger alignment, it would really help to double check on all speakers, the evaluators, the role takers, to make sure that they are included from the start. Because when everyone is fully informed, execution even become more seamless. So, Toastmaster of the Day, Paramjit, continue leading with both vision and human connection. And for all of us, let us remember that when clarity aligns with direction, connection builds. And when leaders combine vision with human connection, the teams don't just work harder, but they work together. And when we work together, the impact is inevitable. Paramjit, today you did not just run a meeting, you lead it well. Well done. Back to you, GE.
Thank you for that elaborate evaluation. Don't we just wish that we had so much more time to evaluate these speakers? Fortunately, we always have 2 to 3 minutes to do this, and I would encourage any evaluator who takes up this role to try and work so that within the green, by the time you get green, you are winding up. You're already telling us about the areas of improvement, so that by the time you get to yellow, you are either summarizing or you're done with your evaluations. That is my feedback to you, Toastmaster Nelly Jen. Well done on your presentation. The third evaluation, the person evaluating the educational speaker, is none other than Toastmaster Fabian Joseph. When he was asked about the theme of the day, this is what he had to say. I believe that if you have a vision, it is important to know how to connect with your team to share that vision to help it reach that goal. Over to you, Fabian.
Thank you very much, GE. Pauline, thank you for your speech. Leadership through vision and human connection. My takeaway is this. Leadership requires a combination of clear vision and a genuine human connection to inspire engagement and progress. Honestly, if someone told me this was your longest presentation in English, I would never believe it, because I think that you were excellent. What I enjoyed was when you asked questions and stepped closer to the camera. You drew us in and made the message feel very personal. Now, you landed a few key strong lines, and these were: vision turns tasks into meaningful contribution, and while connecting builds trust and foster collaboration. However, Olin, here are 3 ways that I think you can level up this presentation today. A stronger opening. Now, instead of starting with a formal thank you greeting, begin with a hook that grabs us. A quick question or a short moment of disconnection at your work would immediately pull the audience into your message. And secondly, match your emotions with your words. Now, when you said you felt disconnected, your face and tone stayed neutral. Let your voice and expression shows that feelings. So we experience it with you before you move on to the next lesson. And thirdly, sharpen your closure with a clearer call to action. Now, your ending was strong, but make it more direct and actionable. For example, ask yourself, what kind of future are you creating, and how will you inspire others to build it with you? Pauline, I believe that this was a powerful speech. It had real value. With a stronger call to action, better emotional alignment, and a clear message, you can easily 10x this presentation in the future. Thank you for blessing us with such a wonderful presentation. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Fabian. One thing that I have picked from your evaluation is the takeaway. Anytime anyone joins this meeting, or if anyone had joined when Lynn was presenting, what would they take away from the meeting? And I found that effective that you captured that. That is critical evaluation in practice, and I encourage you to continue with that approach. Toastmasters and guests, we segue into the evaluations of the speeches. Our first speaker was Toastmaster Lydiah Wanjiku, and her speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Nokawe and Cusin. When asked or when presented with a theme, this is what Nokawe had to say. When our vision is clearly communicated, it becomes easier to make connection in a relevant manner. Over to you, Nokawe.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Toastmaster Lydiah, you had a very engaging opening where you greatly connected with your audience. How did I see that? It was through the responses after the question that you posed to the audience when you opened your speech. What made it even greater was your pause. You gave us enough time to digest your question and be able to raise our hands as requested by you. Your call to action was very clear to me that with clear leadership and inclusion, team members tend to commit towards the vision. Well done on that. What I want to challenge you on is your positioning. You had great gestures, but because most of the time you were close to your screen, we could only see this. And you requested me to look at how you connect with your audience using your gestures. So that it's something that I recommend you take note of. Try to give a space between your screen and yourself so that you are able to show us what you want us to learn even from your body, because your gestures are part of your communication too. Well done on your speech structure. Your opening was capturing. Your body was full of information with references. And your conclusion was powerful because it had a clear call that we need to inspire inclusion in our leadership journey as leaders. In summary, you engaged well with your audience. Your call to action was clear. I had something, and I believe the audience had something to take away from your speech. You may want to work on your positioning. Your speech was well structured, and your presentation skills were very great. Your voice was clear, and it varied very well with your message. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nokawe, all the way from South Africa. I have observed your time management while delivering this speech, and I believe it's something that we can all learn from. The fact that you were able to conclude by the time you had the yellow card tells me that you had clearly structured your speech and you had already thought out the various aspects that you wanted to communicate. That was effective, and I encourage each and every speaker and evaluator to copy that. Thank you for that effective delivery. Next, we segue to the second evaluation, the evaluation of the second speaker, being done by Toastmaster Nicole Whyte as she evaluates Ghada. And when asked about the theme of the day, she says, success is driven by visionary outlook and sustained by a people-centered leadership. Toastmaster Nicole, the floor is yours.
Thank you, General Evaluator Terrence. Ghada, you delivered an inspiring and thought-provoking speech. Two areas where you truly excelled were structure and your vocal variety. I'll start with your structure. It was strong and intentional. Your title, Acts to Awaken. It was clear and purposeful, and your entire message reinforced the audience takeaway. As you beautifully stated, powerful questions are what awaken people in life. Questions are not just an act of discovery, they are for connection. So in a nutshell, you're saying, or your takeaway is, there is value in asking the right questions. Your opening was particularly effective. The 2 relevant questions you asked or posed immediately captured our attention and set the tone for the entire speech. You also strengthened your credibility by incorporating your professional experience, especially when you shared your interaction with one of your clients. That real life example added authenticity and depth to your message. Second, your vocal variety was excellent. Your inflection carried the essence of your speech and reflected the intentionality behind the questions you were encouraging us to ask. And your delivery was engaging and confident. Now, 2 suggestions to elevate your speech even further. First, your Zoom presence. That could have been enhanced through framing and positioning. While we could see your hand gestures, they were great. Stepping back slightly so we can see you from the torso up, that's the social space, would strengthen your stage presence and allow your gesture to have even more impact. And second, be mindful when inviting audience interaction through the Zoom chat. When you asked us today to participate and respond, you didn't take the moment to pause and maybe considered acknowledging or references 1 or 2 responses. So that moment of interaction would have deepened engagement and reinforced the connection through your message. In summary, this was a well-structured speech with excellent vocal expression and meaningful content. By refining your Zoom presence and managing audience interaction more intentionally, you will elevate your impact. All the best in your future speeches. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nicole. A few moments ago, I received a text from Nicole, and she pointed me to something very specific, which I want to commend her on. That is the background. If you have noticed, her background shifted when she started her role. And that is something commendable, that we are able to see you as an evaluator at this point, not the SA we saw when we were starting and not the VPE we expect during the meeting. That was well done. And just an adjustment on the lighting. I noticed that it seemed you were right in front of the source of the light. And so with the glasses, there was a slight glare, if not such a big one. So you might want to work on that. Otherwise, well done on your presentation. And I look forward to your next one. Toastmasters and guests, we move to the evaluation of the 3rd speaker. And this evaluation is being done by our President, Toastmaster Holmes. The 3rd speaker was Toastmaster Kanav. And when asked about the theme, the president said this. He believes that true leadership begins with a clear vision of where we're going and is sustained through genuine human connection that inspires others to move forward together. Before I forget, our club president works as a project manager to the Singaporean government. So you will see the kind of structure and project management as he presents this evaluation. Over to you, Toastmaster Holmes.
Thank you, Terrence. Are you going to attempt or are you going to fail? Are you going to attempt or are you going to fail? Self-directed leaders, this was the call to action that Kanav has ended his speech with. Noting that today his project is to write and deliver a speech with purpose, and I recap that his project's purpose, his speech purpose, was to inspire fellow self-directed leaders, all of us, to serve, actively serve in our community. Let's look at how the speech has done well and perhaps could also be done better. The purpose of the speech was to inspire. So what I liked about the speech was that Kanav was vulnerable. He openly told us they were failures in his life. And as someone running for division director, he was also open to say when he was area director, there were 2 clubs that were suspended. He similarly told us that there was a podcast. So there was something about the PR and personal branding that he did not achieve his goals. But nevertheless, he showed us that despite what has happened, what people remember him from were the successes he had. He saved the club. He was there to motivate and inspire people to continue in Toastmasters. So the storyline was one which is impactful. Let's look at how the speech could be improved. And for this, I have 3 suggestions. Number 1, in terms of going back to the purpose, the action word that Kanav has chosen is to inspire. So the word inspire has a lot of why inside. And when the purpose statement was inspire self-directed leaders to serve in community, our community, I begin to wonder as an audience, what about Kanav? How does Kanav feel about his community, in this case, Toastmasters? Why is it that Kanav wants to serve so much in Toastmasters, his Toastmasters community? And perhaps knowing this why would help me identify my reasons and also be inspired to better serve in my community. So I encourage Kanav to consider and to add his whys as he go along. A second suggestion is that he could use his repeated failures together with body language and vocal varieties. For this, I would recommend fellow self-directed leaders in Kanav to visit a WCPS speech by Romana Smith, Still Standing. She was excellent in using various stage presence, vocal varieties. I'm failed, but I'm still standing, to emphasize and to give impact. And finally, a minor note on word choice. As someone who's becoming a district leader, I'm not too sure if the word a club died is an official term instead of a club has been suspended or a club has been closed. Similarly, word choice between pass, succeeded, fallen. Perhaps it is useful to choose some of these terms and use them consistently at the appropriate junctures. In summary, the content is one that has potential, but I encourage Kanav to explore and share more about his why when he looked at Toastmasters International, to use vocal varieties and body language to anchor his failures, and to use word choices that he could repeat, as well as is appropriate to describe the Toastmasters activities that are going on. Back to GE.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Toastmaster Holmes. I admire the connection that you have put in this evaluation, that the speaker is able to see specific instances and connect with his purpose, specific instances and connect with his plan, for instance, in the district leadership. Herein comes the area that you can improve and even push your evaluations to legendary levels. Whenever we have so much details, we end up fighting with time or battling with time. So my recommendation would be that you pick, instead of taking the 3, you can have that connection with him privately, but for the presentation, you can pick 1 or a maximum of 2 so that your time is effectively utilized. Thank you for that evaluation. Finally, we come to the 4th speech, evaluated by Toastmaster Sonja, doubling, this is her 2nd role in the same meeting. And when she looked at this theme, this is what came to her mind. I believe true leadership is not about authority, but about inspiring a clear direction while building genuine trust and meaningful relationships. About her, she's located in France and she has been a Toastmaster for 3 years and a proud member of the Leadership Speak. Over to you, Sonja.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator Terrence. Marie, first of all, I applaud you and I admire you for your courage to share your story, which surely has been incredibly difficult and a painful journey. You captivated us with a powerful opening, asking us 2 questions and to participate also by raising our hands. From that moment, I clearly understood in which direction your speech will heading. And everyone found themselves or know somebody who knows in a situation similar, like being a stakeholder, but never being in the room, never mind being consulted. Your title was perfectly fitted, and your main message backed up the intent. You shared your personal story, and I was glued to the screen. I really could feel the difficulty that you have gone through. And when you found out that you and your brother were actually part of a crime, a bundle deal, despite being with officially documents stand off. You beautifully concluded by sharing 3 powerful truths. To elevate your presentation even further, allow a little bit more time, a little bit longer pause after you raise the questions in the beginning, which then allows us to reflect more. And also in the second part, when you found out that you were part of this tragic event, that way the impact of that could really sink in. As a further suggestion, and since this is part of your additional pathway, motivational strategies, you could ask us, motivate us to, whenever we witness something similar occurring, to act on, to speak out, and rather be silent. Thank you so much. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sonja. Indeed, this speech was personal. And when it comes to motivation, as you said, and especially considering this path, it would be good, it would be effective to see the connection between motivation. Are we being motivated as people in various spaces to take action against this evil or to do something about it? And herein lies my feedback on your evaluation, that you connected with the speaker beyond the speech, that you also looked at their project, you looked at their path, and you aligned your feedback to something that can add value, something that can build them in that journey in working on motivational strategies. I found that effective, and I urge all of us to continue in that same spirit, to always connect with our speakers at that level and even beyond. Remember, this is Leadership Speak. At this point, I will request the timekeeper, the timer, Marie, to share the times in the chat, as the Zoom master also launches the polls. Let's take a minute to respond to the polls. As we respond to the polls, I will call upon the roll takers. And now we'll get to hear from our grammarian, Mamadou, who has been carefully listening to to the language we've been using, and noting the areas of improvement, including the use of the word of the day, connection. Toastmaster Mamadou, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. GE. Please gather around me and help me. We have been really generous in the use of the word of the day. I'm really reluctant of using it again because it has been used 32 times. And I say connection, that 33 times. Thank you very much. And I want to commend everyone for really being generous and overloading me with those bars of gold, or rather bars of words, connection. And we have done very well. But let me start on the growth side. Those phrases or words we can improve. I heard something bigger would happen. I think that's more of a minor subject, verb, agreement slips. We could say something better would happen. And the second one is something you do it once. We rather say something you do once. But obviously, as I started, I want to commend you because it's not all doom and gloom. Listen to that. We've been graced with such gems like get are divine. TMOD, thank you very much for this gold. And then listen to this one. Being right or wise. This is so good. And let me end here. Leadership is observed and more than it is heard. Thank you, our educational speaker. There are more of this, but let me stop here and hand you back the floor, Mr. GE.
Thank you, grammarian. At this point, I will give my report as the general evaluator. Leadership Speak is the premier club for self-directed leaders to become better speakers and leaders. Toastmasters and guests, congratulations on being part of yet another Leadership Speak meeting. It wouldn't have been this without you. This leads me to my first area of commendation. Our Toastmaster of the Day, you've received the evaluation, especially in terms of time management. When it came to setting up the WhatsApp group, that was done way before the standard that we had set, 2 weeks. And that's commendable because we are now able to see the various changes going on, and we had time to adjust despite the various drop-offs and last-minute challenges, we were able to adjust effectively. And that shows you that a leadership speak meeting doesn't just happen online. A lot goes on in the background, that within the week, we have the various trainings and events that lead us to this, and that is well executed. The second thing I found, or I commend the team on, is on execution of our various roles. For instance, you have just seen from the grammarian how easy it was to work with the word of the day. That tells me there was a lot of collaboration between the grammarian, the Toastmaster of the day, and the leadership speaker, because together they come up with this word of the day, or they make sure that it matches the theme of the day. And that can be clearly seen, that it was so easy to incorporate it in each and every speech. And it was as if they had all planned to present their speeches to do with connection this very day. Well done on that, self-directed leaders. One area of improvement that I would commend, or I would recommend for each and every member of this club, is on our Zoom presence. I have observed, for instance, when we had when we were having the speeches, it kept coming up. When we were having our evaluations, it also came up that the framing is something that we are, or several members were still working on. It would be effective, or it would be more advanced. It would be more precise if we can work on our framing so that we are able to see your gestures, because we can see your torso. Remember, as Nicole mentioned, this is the social space. So anytime you see someone on camera, imagine them being in person. Would they be this close, or would they give you some social distance? I believe this is ideal, so you can always try and frame yourself. I've learned this from sign language interpretation, that they make sure that their hands are seen, and therefore when they're framing themselves on the screen to interpret, this is the size that they use. The second part, or the second area of improvement, I will go back to time. That's why I've gone back to the big screen to see if I'm already in green, and I can see I'm already there. I observed that majority of the speakers were either going over time or going one or two going below, and we could also see something similar on evaluations. My encouragement to each and every one of us is to keep practicing, especially during those sessions on Tuesday, on Thursday. Let's make use of those sessions as leadership speakers, and with that, we'll get to the next level. One thing I also want to mention as I conclude is that this is an opportunity for us to connect. Make sure your camera is on. Don't allow your AI agent to join the meeting, but instead be present. With that, I want to hand it back to the Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster Paramjit.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator Terrence, for a feedback as well as elaborated feedback for everyone. Thank you very much. Now, another hallmark of a leadership speak, which I love it, is the thought of the day. And now, please help me welcome Toastmaster Angela to share with us the thought of the day.
The art of leadership is saying no, not yes. It is easy to say yes. Tony Blair. Execution is rarely the real problem. Misalignment is. Teams work hard, yet move in different directions. not because of incompetence, but because of clarity and trust are missing. Vision provides strategic clarity. It tells people where we're going. Connection builds psychological safety and accountability. It gives people the confidence to commit. When vision and connection operates together, efforts become aligned. And aligned efforts becomes impact. As leaders, our role isn't just to push execution, but it's to set the direction clearly and strengthen the human bond that allows others to move forward with us. As we leave today, I encourage you to reflect on one area where you can show clarity this week. So where you should show clarity and vision and strengthen connection. Then one small action this week to align effort and make an impact. Set the direction, strengthen the bond, and lead with impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Angela. Now, my dear friends, after listening to our education speaker and different speeches, what do you think? What is more dangerous? A leader without a vision or a leader without a heart? The truth is both are incomplete. Vision makes people look at you and connection makes people walk with you. And leadership, true leadership demands both. So lead with vision and human connection. Before we go further, I'd like to request our President Holmes to have an interaction with our guests. A warm welcome to our President Toastmaster Holmes.
Thank you so much, TMOD. Thank you so much, TMOD, and to all guests who are here. Very happy that you continue to stay on for the meeting. I'd like to speak to some of you. I'll call on some of you, and if you are available, I would love it if you can have both your camera as well as a microphone on as much as possible. First of all, I'd like to invite our area director, Gosia, to share with us some of her comments and experience from this meeting.
Well, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, fellow Toastmasters and self-directed leaders of Leadership Speak. It is my second visit to the club, and I am immensely impressed with the quality of the meeting, with how every single role taker executed their role. It is very clear to me that the vision of this club is excellence and execution, and you put all of your hearts into this. I learned quite a lot from everyone here at the meeting, speakers, evaluators, and I will actually take away those learnings to my own club, because we can all learn from each other. So congratulations, and it has been a great pleasure to visit you again. Back to you, Holmes.
Thank you so much, Gosia. Anytime you have time, we welcome you to join us. Let us move on. Yvonne Codrington. Yvonne, are you available? Yvonne.
I am
Trika.
here.
Ah, Yvonne, yes.
Good day. I am accustomed, a regular visitor.
Yes, you are, Yvonne, our very dear friend. How are you today?
I'm fine, thanks, but I'm a bit busy in my kitchen because I have Toastmasters meeting this afternoon, and I'm supposed to be practicing a speech for that meeting. So I'm just here and listening, but not like everything that was said, because I came in late, a bit late too this morning, about 10 o'clock, instead of 9:30. Well, I do enjoy the meetings and I continue to come all the time. And I like the speeches, I like the evaluations. So that is what draws me to the meeting as once I am available to attend. So thank you for.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Thank you so much. I do want to emphasize you are a dear friend and you are always welcome to visit us.
Yeah, I'm going to get some more friends to come on.
Thank you so much, Yvonne.
Right. Thank you. And I have to rush, go away now because I have to do other things for the meeting.
Sure, sure. All the best.
Thank you. Right.
Thank you, Yvonne. Treka, are you available to share some comments? Satish? Some of our guests may be busy at the moment. No worries. To all members and guests who are available, after we officially close the chapter meeting, hey, Satish, you're available? Yes. Hi, Satish. How are you?
Fine, sir. Great.
How's the meeting for you? Share with us.
Yeah, this is a wonderful meeting. I used to attend every meeting whenever I get chance because your leadership training is very excellent and you all are great speakers and doing very excellent job in cultivating the culture, Toastmastership. That is great. Keep it up and all the best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Satish. I look forward to having you again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Satish. Just to double check if any of the other guests have turned on their cameras and might be available to speak. Seems to be, that's all. Yes, I was saying, members and guests, if you're still available after the chapter meeting ends, when we end the recording as well as the live streaming, all of you are more than welcome to stay on for a post-meeting discussion. We do hold a follow-up reflection section, and you're welcome to also, members are also welcome to do this as a table topics if they need to satisfy any of their pathway goals. With that, I'd like to hand back the time back to TMOD, who will officially adjourn the chapter meeting, as well as host the post-meeting discussion. TMOD.
Thank you very much, President Holmes. First of all, I'd like to thank you, all those people who has taken double, third, fourth, triple roles today. And all the people, we have, first of all, our speaker. The best speaker is Harleen, Toastmaster Harleen. Let's have the best evaluator. Wow, Toastmaster Nicole.
Congratulations, Harleen and Nicole.
Yeah. Thank you very much, our PR Master, Veronica, for sharing the certificates, preparing them in time, and showing us absolutely when it's required. Today, I would like to offer my deepest gratitude to everyone who has participated in a role. Everyone contributed. Everyone was on page, same page. And especially our President Holmes, VP Education, Nicole, they took double, triple roles today. Sonia, Toastmaster Sonia. I think that is something what we all talk about, having a vision, and to complete that vision, the connection we had, and nobody told them, even they just came out. I will do that. Nicole, even Nelly also. Nelly was doing the double role. Thank you very much for all your help, support. That is what we all work when together in leadership speak, we achieve the excellence. And now with the powers invested by me, So from our President Holmes, I'd like to adjourn the meeting and like to request to stop the recording as well as